Oh, hi. Sorry, I did not realize I was bringing us in.
Oh,
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's Dana Diaz, if you haven't figured that out with Dr. Victoria. And yeah, we're a little loopy after Christmas and all the drama. I'm sure everybody out there that's listening, you can't be a black sheep or a scapegoat without some lovely holiday drama. And
yeah.
you'll have to forgive. I am kind of like doing the Hugh Hefner thing today with my robe and running a little bit of a fever, and I have a ear infection like a 5-year-old, but nothing I'd rather be doing than chatting with you, Miss Victoria. How are you doing?
I
You
love
look
you.
good. I mean, I still can't believe you had surgery just a few weeks ago.
I love you. I know it, it hurts. Like it is ridiculously painful now more than ever. And I'm like, I'm not doing
But you
anymore.
don't take pain meds. I
I
can't
don't
even
take
like,
pain meds.
ah, I pop ibuprofen like they're Tic Tacs. My God.
No. I mean it's I think it's more painful now than it was prior to surgery or right after surgery. Like it's just like,
Hmm.
you know, it's just gonna be there, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I've had one surgery in my life and I was like three, two, I don't know. And then giving birth, but I had three epidurals when I gave birth to my son because the second I could feel something, I was like, "Ow, I need something."
Do you remember how long I was in labor for?
No, how long were you in labor?
I kept that piece of paper, but I redacted the name on it for obvious reasons. And I framed it and I've hidden the frame because one day, I haven't had to use it yet. One day, Faith is going to need me to say to her, do you know how long I was in labor with you? Like she knows, but she
How
knows
long was it?
8 days.
Oh, Lord help me. I would have not,
No
no.
pain meds, no epidural,
Oh,
2 to 3 minute apart contractions. My face was broken, jaw, nose, shoulder, hand, fingers, foot, knee dislocation, blood clot in the leg, concussion, you name it, I had it. I didn't even look human. And I was like, I'm not taking pain meds. I don't want them to affect her, you know? Nope, 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 nope. And I have gotten the medical records from the hospital that say, so for one day, I'm going to put it up on the wall and be like, hey, it's right there.
you know what? I say it all the time. You are something else. You are superhuman. You really are bionic. I don't know how, I mean, I'm literally like a damn baby over here with this ear infection and fever. I know my throat hurts. And I'm like, I can't even like walk to the kitchen for water. Like I'm dying over here. And you're like, oh, I got my first epidural at 2 centimeters because it hurt and I didn't want to feel that. I'm like literally that girl, like if you pinch me, I will actually cry. I mean, like
Aw.
no joke. I hurt. I have zero pain tolerance.
No, I told Michael, I said, when, I get a little bit older, because all my body parts make me underage. So you need to literally like take me through a WD-40 wash when I get older, then I guess, when I
That's
start.
like Death Becomes Her. That's one of my favorite movies. I always say I'm getting to that point. Every year I like, my sister will send me happy birthday or whatever, and I'll send her back like a Death Becomes Her meme, like wrinkle wrinkle little star. Like I will slap that, what did they put on there? They were like spackling their face and spray
Yes.
painting by the end and walking all jerky and bony and dislocated. It's all good as long as I look good.
I don't think you could look bad in a paper bag. That's just me.
I nobody believes me. It's the lighting. I mean, literally, I thought it was funny that here I did like I didn't do the back of my hair, but you don't need to see that. But I did the front of my hair and I did a little makeup and I was like, oh, nobody will know that I have a fever and that I'm 2.7 degrees above normal. And my left ear is like seriously, it feels like somebody has a butcher knife just stabbing it. It hurts so bad.
Are you taking any antibiotic or ear drops or?
No, I can't do antibiotics because of the autoimmunity.
Oh,
That's
that's
like
right.
poison. Yeah, yeah. I'm glad you know that because I've been to the emergency room before and I say I cannot have antibiotics. I'm autoimmune. And then they put something in the drip, 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 and then I start getting sick and people
Take
don't
a
understand.
warm
I know the
hair
warm
dryer or a
compress.
hair
Yeah.
dryer on low near your ear.
Well, you know what's interesting? I know people want to hear about like narcissism and all this stuff. They don't want to hear about my cats licking my ear, but it was cute. I have my baby kitties, but I'm laying there with them today. They're so adorable because cats know when you're not well.
Mhm.
And the one cat was licking my left ear like he knew. And I'm like, how the hell do you know? It's not like I was sitting there holding it,
Holding it.
but
Yeah.
it's like how do cats, they're literally like psychic little aliens. I don't know what it is, but it was sweet that he knew. But then I'm looking at him like, can you psychically like heal it? Like, isn't
He did
purring
just lick his
supposed to be
butt.
magical or something? Or
He did just lick his butt.
what?
Your cat
So
licked
now
his
that's
butt.
probably why I have bacteria in my ear. That's probably why I have an infection. He's never licked my ear before, but now you're right. I'm questioning it because he licks his butt. He licks his. All right. What's our first question?
I know.
Cat feces in
Woo!
my ear is basically what you're saying to me very nicely. Thanks.
Hey,
Merry
that's
Happy Christmas to you too.
I'm surprised to have your back. I'm just telling you,
On my back, you have my cat's butt in my ears, which I
I'm
have.
just telling you, maybe if that stopped, it would get better or it wouldn't happen at all. That's all I'm saying is
Aren't
that
their mouths supposed to be very clean though, dogs and cats?
it's supposed to be, but not after they lick their butthole. I'm just saying. I'm just, I'm trying to make you feel better. I'm just saying, but I'm
It hurts.
apparently
It hurts.
I'm doing a
It's
shitty
okay.
job.
So
Get it?
let's
I'm doing
save
a
everybody
shitty
else.
job.
I'm gonna Hugh Hefner my way through today. So let's do this.
All right. She missed what I said. I said, but I'm doing a shitty job. All right, I'll go.
You you always have a line.
I do. I know it's a redhead thing. Okay. I was treated like a prized possession, constantly being told I was better than everyone else, but I couldn't shake the guilt of knowing that no one else in the family would ever be treated the same as me.
Hmm.
I know we've had some golden child individuals reach out and let us know how they have been feeling and they have been dealing with stuff and how they feel, which is weird because a lot of times they don't even realize it, they don't recognize it, or they don't say
Yeah,
anything
they
about
just
it.
don't care. Yeah,
Right, because they have the benefit of everything, right?
exactly.
Right, but apparently some of these individuals who wrote in, they don't
Have
see
a
it that way.
conscience. Yeah,
Yeah,
well, good, good.
I couldn't have a single flaw. If I did, it was used as evidence that I was ungrateful for everything they had done for me. Their affection was always based on my perceived way of being their perfect child.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I'm really shocked because up until recently, we really haven't seen the golden child, come in here and talk about their
Yeah.
experiences or anything like that. Like,
Yeah, and I think for most of us, the golden child is more, I hate to say, being on the other end of things, being the scapegoat. The
yeah,
golden child is, I don't want to say the enemy, but it's,
yeah,
they're
absolutely.
our nemesis in a certain way because they're the reason they are like, at least for me, my brother, it was like the way they raised him and all of the glory of everything he became was like their proof to everybody that I was the reason that I was deficient. It wasn't that they were saying I wasn't
Right.
good enough, even though they were behind closed doors. But it was like, oh, we did what we could with her. But look at this perfect child of ours that we raised. So see, we
Right.
are very good parents. It's just it's her. She's the problem.
Yep.
And so it's nice when a golden child can be aware of the fact that they're the golden child.
Yes. This one really resonated, and I'm sure it will with you as well. Whenever I need help, no one cared. I would cry out, no one listened. My sibling, on the other hand, was always the center of attention. They didn't have to beg for approval like I had. I felt like my pain didn't matter. It was just all about their perfect little world with their perfect little boy.
Mm-hmm.
I totally get that one.
Yeah, I mean, you read my second book. That's pretty much that was
I
my
went,
childhood after. I mean, I was like almost 14, like literally almost 14 when my brother was born, but that was exactly it. I was an inconvenience because, I think I forget how I put it, but I know when my mother was pregnant with my brother, it was like proclaiming that Jesus was coming
yes,
back
that's
to
how it came
earth,
from.
like, the savior is coming,
Yes. Yep. Yep.
And it was like, I didn't mean anything, like just throw me up on a cross and start throwing stones. But yeah, it's amazing how they can be their little I mean, my stepfather, and you did read the book, but he literally, before my brother was born, literally said to me to my face, once that child is born, you are not a part of our family anymore. He said, it will be me, your mom, and our baby, and we will be a family and you will not be a part of it. I mean, you want to talk about, I mean, so some people might just feel that they were put on the outside or feel scapegoated or feel, I was told you're not part of this thing. And
Right.
Jesus Christ, I'm 49 and still trying to figure out where the hell I belong in this world,
Yeah.
which I'm starting to realize I belong nowhere, and that's almost a good thing. And I think I want more people to feel that way. Like it's okay to be on the outside because look, I found you. And as we were just talking about, but I mean, I won't get into the depths of the conversation, but it's a good thing we were not raised together in the same household.
Yes, that's so true.
Bad things would have happened when rebellion rose up.
Yes, yes.
We ain't gonna take that stuff.
No, it would have been a Thelma and Louise. That's all I'm going to say.
It would have been bad.
Yes. This one really, really shocked me. And it was a boy who wrote this. I could never have one moment of peace without my sibling being angry at me. I was older and the golden child, and my younger brother was the black sheep. He was completely resentful because I was always held up as the shining example of success, while he was being told he would never measure up to even carry my shadow. I
Oh,
hated it because I felt trapped because no one ever looked or acknowledged the pressure I was put on. But I mean, that's the perspective of the golden child feeling that, but the golden
yeah.
child this time is the older one. And see, you and I are older
That's
and we're the black
interesting.
sheep.
Yeah, it's interesting because usually it's another child. Like it's like they could, I always say, like I was the horse they couldn't break, so then they had to have another one. Get another pony. We'll break that one.
Right.
But that is interesting that it was the first child.
That was
But
the
then but I've brought this book up before, but that book from night, well, I think it was in 1991 it came out, that a child called
oh,
It.
it. Oh, yeah.
He was the third of five children. He was the exact middle child, and he was the only one of the five children that was abused and horrifically abused at
Right.
that, but the
Right.
only one. The other children before him, the two before him, and the two after him were not treated any differently. And certainly not in any abusive way either. So
Right.
it is interesting how they decide that, but that's where I think we as the black sheep come in. It comes back to what is it about us that makes us different? It's that we are not playing along in the role that they have decided we should play. We're the ones that are saying, no, I see you who you are. And I mean, there are even a lot of people, spiritual people out there that say that there is something about your energy that irritates others people's energy. Like it disturbs their peace when you're around because they know that you're this person that sees through their crap. So whatever it is, it's just sad. But I do appreciate, thank you, whoever that was that wrote in as the golden child. Definitely an interesting perspective
Yeah.
being the first child, but I do love that this person had a conscience because I think I had mentioned that I'm not even on this podcast, but with you once we were talking about somebody or some situation. And I had said, I wonder if there were any golden children that ever
Right.
felt that they were like pressured or felt bad about how they were treated and how they would handle that. Because I think some of them maybe don't want to have that role in the family and they want to just be their own person and be able to just live like everybody else
Yeah.
because there's definitely strings that there's a lot of strings that come attached to that role, and God forbid if you break them, you're just going to destroy the whole family system,
That's
which
true.
isn't a bad thing, but
That's true. Very, very true. So I was a twin. I say was because I no longer have contact with my brother or my family. Let me
Mhm.
explain. I was the one who had to take the blame for everything. My brother was popular, I was not. I don't understand because you could never tell us apart. We looked ideally the exact same in every which way, all the way down to our mannerisms. If something went wrong, it was always on me. My sibling could do nothing wrong no matter what. One night, when my parents were asleep, my brother took out the family car with some of his friends and robbed a store. When he was caught that night, he had not taken any of his own ID, he took mine. We were let go on our own recognizance. We were let go into the custody of our parents. My parents knew that it wasn't me, but when it was time to go to court, my parents threatened me if I didn't take the rap and go to jail for my brother's actions. I was a minor. Nobody would listen. Nobody wanted to hear me. No one wanted to hear. I'm sorry. I was a minor. No one wanted to listen, and no one wanted to hear me on what I had to say about the fact that it was not me. I was the one home. But it's kind of hard to convince a courtroom or a judge when your own parents are in court testifying against you. They said to me before we entered the courthouse that my brother had such a bright future ahead of him, and the possibility of this would tear it all apart. But since they knew I was going nowhere, that the right thing that I could do for the first time in my whole life would be take this one for the team and go to jail for my brother. I went to jail due to my parents' testimony.
Oh my God.
Holy crap. Holy crap. I don't think I've ever read something that bad. Like, that is, that's a whole different level. How do you tell the court that your twin son did it when he was home in bed?
Honestly, I'm not saying anything because that is so something my mother and stepfather would have done. And they've
I
done
could see
some
that.
horrific things. Yeah, they've done some things to me that, I think I've shared that very few
Yes.
parents would do. That is something they would have done. And it makes me sick to think that, I don't know, the whole thing makes me sick. But this is an example of exactly why I appreciate the previous story, another golden child being very aware and feeling badly about the position they were put in, because this twin that got away with this obviously knew he was going to get away with it, and the
Right.
parents are in on it. And when you have that kind of sense of entitlement, I mean, that's the basis of narcissism, and is when somebody feels that entitled, they start taking advantage. And I mean, we all know, you and I both know very well, and I'm sure a lot of people out there, oh, narcissists, some get to the point, many of them, the malignant ones, where they think they're above the damn law, and they
Yes.
actually are, because they get away with crap and they
Yes.
figure it out, and they have people enabling them to do so. So yeah, it makes me sick. And whoever that is, I'm so sorry that you went through that, but I'm glad that you know who you are and that you differentiate yourself from this person who looks and acts and has all your mannerisms and everything, because you know what, that's not your family. I think we
Yeah.
part of our pain as the black sheep, as the scapegoat, is that it's this grief that our family of origin, our biological family, does not accept us, or that we don't fit into it. But I think there's such a liberation that comes when you realize that blood is blood.
Yeah.
And boy, you can bleed out and die, or you can go take your blood somewhere else, because there's plenty of other people in this world that will love you and care about you and accept you, and where you will fit right in exactly where you're supposed to. But it's so sad. I mean, I think, I mean, you and I always feel we're definitely sisters at heart, but gosh, it would have been so much fun to be twins. Like, you
Yeah.
and I would have had a blast
Oh
being
my
twins.
God.
Yeah, we would have been hellions, though, I have a feeling.
Yes. It would have been so much fun.
But gosh, what a terrible thing. I mean, I know you have, no contact with family. I have no contact with family. My brother, that brother from my mother and stepfather, drank the Kool-Aid finally. And it's hard. It's really hard. And then you have to go to jail.
Well, I'm
No.
not, by reading the words that was written, he didn't say juvenile, he said jail. So I'm guessing, and if I'm wrong, I apologize immensely. But when he didn't say juvenile, I mean, he was very detailed in the message
Yeah.
that he was maybe charged as an adult, because he had to be at least 16 if they were driving and there was a driver's license
At least
involved.
16, but remember, some high school seniors have already turned 18
True,
during
true.
their senior year. So it could have been they were still living at home, but they were in their
Right.
last year of high school. But if you're 18, and over, you are an adult and you'll
You
be
are.
tried as an adult,
Well,
which
the
is
reason,
actually a shame. Although, take it from me, when jail isn't an option and you're under 18, you go places I don't know, jail might have been better than where I had to go. So
yeah,
it just sucks either way. It
it
sucks
does.
what and it's funny because I always think it's interesting that it's usually the people like us that are punished and that have to, pay the price for it. We are the ones that are so fully aware. We are the ones telling the truth. We are the ones that see everything for what it is. And we try to tell people, but people don't want to believe it.
No.
People don't want to believe stuff that's right in front of them because it's just easier to think, you must be the problem. That's it. We have enough evidence to pin you as the problem. So we're just going to go with that so we don't have to put any more effort. But how many children? I mean, we've talked about it many times before. How many children die or become abused worse because they're in situations even after they've ratted out whoever it is abusing them, even after they've been assaulted and tell authorities, and still they have to suffer, and it just sucks. There
Yeah.
has I don't have the answers. I had somebody once ask me in an interview, well, what's the answer? Well, hell, if I had it, believe me, it would be enacted. But I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah. I hate a
I
judicial
guess I
system.
like to I would like to think in an ideal world that we would err on the side of caution. If they're twins and you have one saying he didn't do it and the parents saying that, put both their asses in jail. How about that? I mean, I'm not saying that's fair to this twin
But
that didn't do
DNA.
it. DNA, yeah, that's an obvious one. You're a doctor, you would think of that.
But no, the thing
Just
is the
throwing
fact that
everybody in jail.
the parents
Yeah,
were like, no, it was him. It was, that's correct. It's him. And it's not just that, but the boy was like head spinning Beetlejuice with the whole, my own parents are up here saying it was me. And if he's a felon, that changes his whole course of life. Like he can't get certain jobs, he can't do certain
absolutely.
things,
A hundred
and
percent.
what happens to the other one who probably more than likely maybe did some other kind of felony down the
Oh,
road?
absolutely he did. And he's going to continue to because he got away with it.
Right.
And that's the thing is that you're going to have a repeat offender. I mean,
I
you're lucky you have a teenage girl, but I mean, honestly, when I was, my son hit about 14, 15, I had some other mom friends at school. They're, oh, my daughter's, of that age. If she comes home pregnant and all these things, I'm like, I wish I had it. Well, I wouldn't want a teenage daughter. The hormones, I might kill her before she kills me. But I'm like, I wish that I had to worry about a daughter being pregnant because as the mother of a teenage boy, it's the same thing. I
Yeah.
said, my biggest worry and my fear, any little girl out there, anyone, even if he never even met her, could point to him and say, he raped me. And I live in a small town.
Yeah.
Forget DNA,
Oh,
forget anything. Everybody will be in the rumor mill and he will be a rapist. There goes job. And God forbid if they were sexually intimate and somebody says a boy raped them, then you do have evidence of that
right.
sexual intimacy. Can he get a job? Can he even? I've seen kids not get to go to school, to
Right.
college afterward, or have scholarships revoked. And it ruins their lives. And it's not to dismiss the fact that rape occurs, but
Right.
even in situations like this, I mean, the fact that these parents are willing to ruin the life of one of their children and not the other one, knowing full well which one of them did and didn't do it. Yeah, that's a level of scapegoat child that I mean, I know some of the low levels as you do, but gosh darn,
Yeah.
it just sickens me that there's these people out there. And I tell my son every day, I'm like, you go out, you pass people by on the road, you go to the gas station, you go to wherever you go, Walmart, you're passing by people, and God knows what these people have done.
Right.
I wish I was sitting on the judgment panel up there or down there, wherever, seeing people that I know that I think are pristine and perfect and have wonderful lives. I'd love to know the crap they've gotten away with, because I'm telling you, the stuff that's going on that we don't know about.
Yeah.
That's why I love this, that we can have this community where we can all come and expose all the stuff that really is going on in the world.
Well, I want to take 1 second because I reached out to this gentleman. We're in the beginning of having a conversation. I would absolutely love to have him come on this show. Um, he is a convicted felon. He was a drug dealer. But he said I never sold to children. I really was selling to gangs. Okay, he said I did my time. I understand. And he said, but I don't care who you are. If you're a woman or a child and I find out somebody has assaulted you or sexually assaulted you in any way, I would go back to jail because that's just, the
Mm-hmm.
right thing to do.
Yeah.
So I reached out to him and said, oh my God, I would love to have you on. He told a story, and I have a hard time because what I went through and how the law enforcement was not on my side. They normally are not. Most time, the victims at the time are incarcerated more frequently than the attacker or abuser are. Um, they get away with it. Like they literally get away with murder. He had a video out, and I'll only give a little bit of it, and then I'll see if he'll let me tag it. Where Dana, you're gonna be shocked. You're gonna be like, "Yes, we need to get this guy on." He was serving his time. He was 9 months in, and he gets told that there is a just horrific thing. I don't even want to say a man in the pods with them. And they're not under, this thing is not under protective custody. Well, they're real badasses when they want to go and, they molest a child and
Mm-hmm.
pedophilia and all that. And then when they go to jail, they want to be under protective custody or in a totally different way, in a different place. They want to be in solitary because the other inmates will hurt them because
Yes.
you don't mess with children. Like you just
Right.
don't. And so this guy found out that there was a rapist along the mix. And he started talking to other people. And a lot of people might judge me for this, but if you have a child or you've been through this yourself and you've been assaulted in any way, just bear with me because what happened was he found out this guy had a 30-year stint for his crimes.
Mm-hmm.
This guy raped and assaulted this little girl starting at the age of 6 until 11. 5 years. It was his friend's little sister. Okay. For 5 years. It came out that he raped, like, it's not allegedly, he was found guilty, but I'll still say allegedly, over 100 times he raped this girl. Not the guy I want on the show, a prisoner in the pod. So when they found out about this, they wanted to give justice where
Mm-hmm.
justice was due.
Yeah.
And so he initiated a payback to this creature for what they did to what he did to this little girl, and he did it. And let's just say, not that long after, they found that subject deceased in jail, and he was furious. And he says, "I cannot believe that a rapist who raped a little girl for over 5 years, over 100 times, he only got 7 years in jail. That was his
Sounds about right.
sentencing. That
I
was his
believe it.
sentencing. He says, I had 30 for drugs, not to children. You know, I'm doing it. I know I own what I did. He gets 7 years, 5 for good behavior if he gets out and then he goes right back out and does it again. Are you serious? And he was like, he's not coming out. He's not coming out and hurting anybody else. And that's who you want in the court system because I'm sorry, you know, there's white collar crimes, there's all sorts of things, but criminal acts against children, specifically to me, I would never be picked for jury duty. Be like, oh, he hurt a child, hang him. You
I
know,
agree. I
you
agree,
rape
but I
somebody,
think
castrate
I
him.
think anything, I don't, yeah, I mean, even take the child out of it. If you cause intentional harm to another human being, to me, that's it. That's done. Drug dealing, to me, forgive me if there's people out there, I'm Christian, I'm a moral human being, but if you come to me and you want to buy drugs, That's your choice. You're a grown person. It's just the same as you going to the bar and asking for a damn drink. So I don't blame the drug dealers. They're trying to figure out a way to live life just like strippers on the pole. I actually think they're very talented, some of them, and good for them that they can make the money they're making. But I don't see that even as being a punishable crime. I think it's stupid, unless you are actually taking the needle and sticking it in somebody's arm. Why the hell are you having to serve time? But yes, I have seen over and over people that are actually harming other people and doing terrible
And
things
they
in this
get
world.
nothing.
Nothing.
No time at all. And that's the thing. People were up in arms about the fact that in Alabama they chemically castrate now. And they're like, that takes away his right. I want to know what about the right of their victim? That child never gets over it because you know what? When you're sexually assaulted, and I'm here to tell you personally, because my ex-husband did, part of you gets murdered that night, but you are living with that for the rest of your life. It doesn't grow into, forgiveness. It doesn't grow into something you forget about and put it on a bookshelf. And then you're like, okay, I dealt with it. It's over. I'll never think about it again. I'll never be triggered. Bull crap. You will. And for somebody to say it's inhumane to castrate, are you serious? Put them on a deserted island, somebody with a whole bunch of other ones just like them, because to say that it's inhumane, just like lethal injection is inhumane, I'm sorry, when you viciously rape and attack or, whatever you do to your quote unquote victim and you kill them, was it silently putting them to sleep? Did they deserve to die? No, they didn't deserve to die. They didn't deserve, the punishment that you put on them. But yet you want to bitch and complain about how you're going to get your last meal and have steak and potatoes or whatever you choose. And you have free insurance and education and you get congregational visits
Yeah.
probably one way or another. And you do all of these things for years and years and years and years. But these people might not get to go to their own wedding or watch their child get married or any of these other, see their grandkids and they go through vicious, hellacious pain. That is inhumane. And you want to bitch about being put to sleep? I have such an issue with that. Like,
Yeah.
such
Hey,
an
you don't
issue.
have to tell me. I started at DePaul pre-law. I was originally going to become a lawyer and basically serve justice, like hand justice to everybody back with their freaking asses. And I wrote a paper and I was asked to stay after class because in this paper that my professor didn't like it very much, because I said that I think that it's ridiculous that we are exactly what you said, providing these criminals who have done these heinous crimes that to me, you are not going to rehabilitate them. Somebody is
No.
not suddenly going to come to Jesus and walk the straight and narrow after they've robbed liquor stores 10 freaking times over, raped this one, committed assault, illegal. When they got a rap sheet like that, I say, I said, send them to the chair. But I said, even better, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. I kind of like that idea. I love that idea. And I said, this would not just help our society by eliminating these people, which sounds a little Hitlerish, and I apologize. I don't
I
mean
don't
to
think it
offend, but
does.
it's how I feel. But I said it also helps our economy because I'll be damned if my tax dollars should
Thank
go to pay for
you.
these criminals to eat and have cable TV and free.
And
Where's my free
insurance.
medical? Where's my free medical? Do you know how
Right.
much that we pay for medical insurance, me and my husband being self-employed? And I can't even go to the goddamn doctor without paying up the freaking a-hole.
Right.
So I just don't. And I'm sickly. I'm chronically ill and have issues. And I can't go to the damn doctor, but these criminals can go into, I mean, now I understand. My dad being a Chicago cop, he has told us many times there are a lot of criminals, at least in Chicago, that repeat their history because
Absolutely.
they need shelter and they need food and they can't get jobs with the rap sheets they
No.
have.
And
So
it's
it's
not,
easier for them to go to jail
yep.
and live off our damn dime. And I don't mean to offend anybody that might be of a different political affiliation, but at some point, people need to pay the consequences of their actions. And being a criminal so that you can live and have the benefits of life like food and shelter should not be the answer. But for those that aren't even doing it for that, that just it's like a power trip that they get. And that's what makes most abusers narcissistic. I would argue that anyone who abuses anyone in any way is a narcissist because your needs are more important than that person. Your need to penetrate that 6-year-old little girl for 5 years is more important than her well-being. Because I'm going to say this too, and I dare say it as somebody who was physically abused as a child, and I know that you have been through hell is not even the word physically, but the physical stuff, it heals. You
It
can
does.
fix it.
It does.
Might not work the same, might not be the same, but the emotional impact of the betrayal, if nothing else, of people who say they love you and do these terrible things to you, the mind fuck that's
Yeah.
associated with this, that stays with it. It impacts your relationships, the way you live, the way you think. It actually changes the chemicals and the development of your brain and how you
It does.
react. And I mean, that's where the life changing stuff is. Like, to me, forgive me, I know that, and I don't mean to offend anybody, but believe me, I've had hands around my neck. I've been beat to shit, but I don't even care. That doesn't even bother me. The emotional stuff, though, knowing that to know somebody hates you that much to want you dead, and never mind that person's your mother or your husband, or
Yeah.
that's sick.
It
And if
is.
you're 6 years old and some man that's not even, it's just,
And
I
it's
don't
not
even
only
have
just
words.
that, Dana. It's the fact that, like, for instance, you turn around, you go to jail, you're going to be around other pedophiles, you're going to learn other things. And I've had a pedophile on the
Oh,
show,
yeah.
and oh, he won't come back on no matter how much. I've had one twice, and he ran off, like, and he now advocates for pedophilia. But the thing is I was like,
What?
oh yeah, 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 oh yeah. And he killed his assailant, the one who sexually assaulted him. He killed him. After years and years of sexual assault, he killed him. But now he comes out and he advocates for pedophilia. And I asked him, I said, what would you do if your child was sexually assaulted by a pedophile? And he said, I would help the pedophile. And I said, you just sexually assaulted your child all over again, because you would help the person who assaulted your child, and your child would see that, then you're assaulting your child all over again. And he was like, well, some people stop at, child pornography pictures and things like that. Well, let me tell you, child pornography is horrible, because you're having a child pose for these pictures. And sometimes, yes, acts are not done physically onto them, but psychologically, they are. Because, no matter what the age, we'll say 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, whatever, they are like, I don't think I'm supposed to be posing like this at this age. And then why are you taking a picture of me? And I'm not comfortable. And my body is mine. And you're showing it to people. That is sick. That is sick. I don't care what excuse you give. It is sick. Don't tell me it's a medically chemical imbalance, blah blah. Because if it is, you can go to the island with the others. Like, we'll put you on your own island with the rest of them. Because if you think it's all here, why do you scream and cry? And I have no problem taking my filter off and act like a little bitch baby when you go to jail, because you don't want to be in there with the big boys because you're afraid of retaliation. How do you think those kids felt? Now you know how they felt. Put every one of them in General Pop and walk away. I'm sorry. They need to know exactly how it felt, what they did to the others. Offer them an extra hamburger, a couple extra minutes on the iPod or tablet or whatever, because those kids are never going to have resolution. Those kids are never going to feel safe. And as they're growing up, they're constantly going to be watching over their shoulder. They're going to constantly wonder the what ifs. They're going to wonder in every relationship, even when they're young and then they become teenagers and they have their first relationship. Watch them freak out the first time you try to take a picture with them, because they don't know what you're going to do with it, and it scares them. And that is not fair for a child to live in that life, because it's not fair. They feel trapped in their own hell. They feel trapped in their own being because of some disgusting issue that someone else has. That is just not okay. It's not okay. And you know what? That needs to be on the forefront of what this country needs to do to be fixed right freaking now.
Well, there's a lot of things that need to be fixed, but absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt. And somebody that can actually advocate for that. I honestly try not to hold judgment against people. And I like, you're into butts, you're into kids. I mean, I think it's wrong, but like, I can't control what gets you going. But if you think it's okay to actually involve a child and I don't know, but yeah, there's so much to it. I wouldn't even know where to start, but there's obviously I mean, it's funny to me when people say like suicide is a mental health issue. I'm like, no, it's a people are a-holes issue. That's the problem. That somebody doesn't want to deal with the pain of people anymore, that they would rather be dead. But something like you think it's okay to participate in anything regarding child pornography, whether you're taking the picture or jacking off to it, that to me is a mental health issue. I mean, that goes beyond immoral to me, that something's not wired right, you know. I can't tell you, you can get off on a goat, whatever, but I to harm a child in the process of getting your sexual to get off, there's no way to say it politely.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
disgusting.
Absolutely.
I don't even know what to say though, but this I think it's not just this country though. I know that you have talked to people too. I've talked to people like the
Yes.
UK and Australia are actually coming a little, not much, but they're acknowledging abuses beyond the black eye and the gunshots and you know the physical stuff. They're starting to, but we are so far behind and it's so far off the radar right now. I mean, I'm not even sure who the hell our president is at this actual given moment. And we're on the brink of World War III, and the Vatican's opening doors to Lucifer's tomb and opening portals, and drones are flying in the sky, and there's
People are
military
getting
looking for
burnt
nuclear
alive.
submarines. And Jesus freaking Louises, I'm just going to hide with my cats in the damn basement here and just wait for this world to end.
You know,
We'll
they're
just
burning.
erase it. And honestly, all joking aside, I am a Christian. I am starting to actually buy into some. I'm totally going off tangent, but you know, I see people on social media that are like, these are the end times. God, just like Noah came with the ark and washed away all the BS, it's time. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe it is. Maybe it is. So, Lord, spare me. Hopefully, I go in the rapture. If I don't, well, like I said, I'll be in the basement with my cats eating cheese sticks or something. But Lord help me. We need to like take that magic eraser and just start shaking it and starting over because
Yeah.
this is not working.
No, our laws need to get so much tougher. There's been two people that I know of in the last week, not know them, but know of, that were burnt alive in New York subway. Like
Oh
burnt
my
alive.
God. Oh
And I
my
saw the
God.
video, and the cop is standing there watching this guy burn alive, and he's like standing there, and is he afraid to get burnt? Is he afraid, what the hell are you doing watching this guy burn alive? I mean, and then the guy walks off who did it, just stands there and walks off like, I watched him. And it's just, what are you going to do? Is he going to get 30 days in jail? I mean, what's his sentence going to be? It's
That's
nothing
the thing. And
but
we're
about
talking
the
about
victim.
no.
A lifelong
But that's the
sentence?
thing. And that's why we have to stick together, all of us that are listening and
Yep.
here on the show and beyond,
Oh,
because this world is honestly, it was a scary place before, but now it's like it's getting worse and
it
more
is.
is being, and God forbid that we go into, you know, what do they call it? I forget what they call it. When they do like civil law or military law or
Oh, I
whatever
could
it
have
is.
just told you had you not
I
said
know
that.
it's on the tip of my tongue, and you would think I know this
Oh,
because I have all this military and policemen in my family. But you know what I mean? Like, I mean, we are
martial
living
law.
in martial law. Thank you. I was thinking militia, martial. But yeah, we're living in scary times. But sadly, for some of us, the scariness is like literally in our freaking house,
Yeah.
sleeping in the next room, eating across the table from us in the kitchen. And I we were talking about this before we came on, but that's the part that I've always struggled with the most, is that other people see it. They see it. They witness it. Even my own mother, when I was a kid, it would be happening 2 freaking feet away from her.
Yeah.
And she would just look out the window and wash her dishes like it was just another freaking Sunday afternoon, even though I'm screaming, begging
Mhm.
for her to help me as I'm being physically assaulted. I don't understand this world, but you can't. I mean, I don't want people not to trust anybody, but you can't trust anybody.
I know.
So we need to stick together, or at least, if nothing else, be aware. So that's why
Yes.
we do this, is just to make people aware and to make people aware that it's okay. You don't have to be a part of your family. You don't have to be go along with crap just because somebody is threatening you or bullying you. God forbid if it's your parent or your brother or whoever. You got to be your own person and say, this is not okay. I
Right.
have boundaries. I have respect. I love myself enough not to submit myself to this crap.
Right. And I have to tell you, Dana, I have cussed out your mom. I was reading when I was reading, I was whoo, I had to repent some of my language, but I'm just saying, like,
You know,
I
and
cursed her out because I was like, I know you freaking, I know you hear her. Get your stupid. I mean, I just,
well, I appreciate that, but it's because you love me. And it's an interesting thing. Like my husband, at first I was like, he started to read my second book. And I mean, he's married to me. He obviously knows probably most of everything, but um he's still not, he just can't.
yeah,
Every time he tries to read it, he's like, he's, kind of like how you've been saying. He's actually said, he's like, if I keep reading it, I'm going to go to jail. And I'm like, but the thing is it's funny because people that know me that read the book, that's their response. And most of them had to stop at chapter 3 and be like, God, you're like 3 years old and I can't even
mhm,
read past this. And I know you and you're alive and you're okay. But like, the, it's hard, but I felt like the book was too intense. But at the same time, I'm like, it's what it was.
yeah.
And
When
I
I
think
got,
so many people in this world don't understand. And the kicker of it, I didn't even want to publish this book because I told the publisher, I know personally people who were abused so much worse,
but it's not
so
a
much worse.
competition.
Like,
Right.
what makes my story? Why would anyone read it? But then when I see the response, I'm like, well, thank God, because my story wasn't that bad. And think of all the other kids that are out there living in worse. I mean, a child call it that was like
That
horrific,
was so
horrific.
bad.
And like that story from, what was it, the last podcast or the two podcasts ago that you were sharing with us about that young woman who had been burnt after she was sexually
Oh,
assaulted.
yes.
I mean, oh my God.
Yeah.
But the thing is that people are doing this and they're walking the streets. They are living
Yeah.
life freely while, we have a twin going to jail because his family decided it was the best thing for his brother not to have to suffer consequences. There is some crazy, we are literally living in the damn upside down. I
Yeah.
don't know what the hell is going on, but we got to watch out for each other and we got to keep our eyes open
Yeah.
and watch our own backs.
Yeah. When I got to that point, I'm glad you mentioned that on chapter 3 because when I got to that part, I put it down and then I was like, okay, but I know her, I love her, and she is family to me, and I want to see what made her who she is today. Like I want to see through the window of her eyes and her soul what she endured that made her who she is because what we've gone through, you can either let it make you or break you and it made you. And so I wanted to see all of the things you endured and triumphed through. And it made me gain so much, even more respect that was possible for you because nobody should go through that. And it was with that mentality that I could read it because I did have to put it down because it is hard.
Mm.
And but you do it and I look at you now and you are making such a difference in so many people's lives, even if it was one person. And it's never a competition. Nobody should ever have to go through this. And if our voice is reaching as many people as, I mean, we are in the top, this podcast show is in the top 3% globally, thanks to everyone who listens and shares and likes and tells people about it because it is a huge
It's an
situation.
epidemic.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. It's an epidemic that
Yeah.
nobody wants to A, confront or B, talk about. And we will. We have no problem telling it like it is. And the fact that people can feel that not only do we empathize, but we sympathize, we understand, we can go through it with you because we've understood and we've been there. And between her and I think we've got basically everything covered. We've been through everything you could
We
be,
have been
between the two
through
of us.
everything, but the worst part of it is, and I think that's another big thing I have a problem with, is that the fact that we have such a huge response to this podcast, because yeah, epidemic is an understatement. And the fact that people are getting away with it, and the fact that everybody just wants to brush it under the rug, like it's not even happening. because like I said, my circumstances weren't even that bad. And I don't think I'm special. I don't think there is something about me that like, oh, look at me, I'm so brave and I triumphed. I was surviving. Just like you, I don't know how you survived what your ex did to you. I have no clue how your little girl is here on this earth at all, honestly, after what he did to you and her in your womb. But these are people walking around freely.
Yes.
My mother, my stepfather, your ex,
My
my
family.
ex.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wanted to tell you that I want to thank everybody for a moment because I got to go back and see where I got that statistic that, there is different apps out there that let you know when your podcast has a new episode that comes out. And one of them let me know that over 3,000 people have us set as their number one favorite show.
Wow. Wow.
And that's just number one favorite show. I mean, we're still in the top 3% globally, but we're saying that whenever one of these drop, it instantly lets them know, and 3,000 different people have saved us as their absolute number one favorite.
Well, thank you for everybody that is subscribing to that and that even listens to anything we have to say because
Yeah.
honestly, this has nothing to do with us. Like I said, I'm no I'm not special.
Stop it.
I think you're special,
You
Victoria,
are
but
special.
but the thing is that we're just not afraid anymore because when you are when you are in the position that we are in where you have opened your mouth and tried to stand up for yourself and you get basically exiled and banished from every family you've ever belonged to it, I it's funny. My husband is into politics, and he was talking about Putin and how dangerous is. And I said, yeah, but when you have nothing to lose, you are a very dangerous person.
That's
And
true.
that is how I feel with us. And I'm not trying to be dangerous, but controversial maybe, because you know what? There is nothing I'm afraid to talk about, just as there is nothing that you're not going to shy away from,
Right.
Victoria.
Right.
We
Nope.
are here to expose it all because it needs to be talked about, because there are people out there that are still in these situations that can't speak up because they're afraid of the consequences, because some people are still in they might be killed if they ever even thought to speak up about the situation they're in. So that is what we're here for. We're
Yeah.
here to just let you know, yeah, we've been through it. We got it.
Yeah.
And it's not okay, but we have to let you know what it is and help you understand it better. And what you do with the information is up to you, but we're glad that you listen and we're glad that we have each other. I mean, it's funny that we have millions of people listen, but I feel like I feel like there's this bond. Like I see
Mhm.
myself like when we're on, like we're all just kind of sitting in a big circle singing Kumbaya,
Right.
like we got each other. And like if anybody were ever to message me and say, I listen to your podcast and this happened to me, my God, I might fly somewhere and shank somebody that deserved it. I'm not sure. I don't know if I have it in me, but I'm one of those people. But I think if I got fired up enough, like you said, if it was a small child, God knows, you and I, yeah, we're dangerous.
Yeah, it is. It's like when
But
I
thank you, honestly, for everybody who's listening. We do appreciate you.
right. And the thing is that if you get little nuggets from every show, how to handle things or a situation or how to make yourself safer until you can get out, we need to focus a couple of episodes on how to get a fresh start, how to, come back out once you first leave and how to start reinventing yourself. We need to do that at some point.
We
But like,
should, because can I tell you, I made a video. It was probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. I had been meaning to do it for a while. I did a video on preparing, for getting out of an abusive situation. TikTok pulled it. I don't even think it was on for 2 minutes, and they pulled it. And I was like,
wow,
wow, look at me being controversial,
nice.
trying to help people. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love how they mediate things, though.
Me
It's
too.
interesting. Yeah. It's
When I
insane.
when I went for my original TPO, I had a advocate for domestic violence with me, and she was so sweet. And like I was sitting there, and what my back was to the courtroom doors, and this was the one time my sperm donor was with me, the one. And I looked over, and I had my advocate beside me, and then I had my sperm donor on the other side, and I went, he's here. And they said, what? And my advocate goes, when you are victimized so badly, you sense them. You know when they're there. You know when they're
Oh
near.
yeah.
And my sperm donor was like, she doesn't know what she's talking about. He's not here. What is she talking about? 2 seconds later, opens the door, walks in. And she looked over at my sperm donor and said, I'm going to tell you this. I've been doing this for 30 years. She said, I'm telling you from everything I've seen that your daughter's presented and everything I've read that she's presented, he is that one that will come back and kill her because that's how sick this man is. He will come back and try to kill her. And what does my sperm donor do? Oh, that's right. He took him on vacation after that. That's right. How did I forget? Yeah. So we're going to do one more and then we're going to make Miss Dana go rest because
Oh no, it's okay. I'm not resting, but Gizmo has joined us, so just
Gizmo's
saying.
cute. Don't lick her ear.
No, it was Turbo licking my ear.
Oh, don't lick
But
your
he
butt.
licked my ear after the infection. It's like he knew it was infected. But
Maybe
it's
he was
okay.
saying
This
he was
one's
sorry.
purring, and they say purring's magical. But
Oh.
you know what? I'm sorry. I know you're reading another question, but I'm just thinking about that they took him on a vacation after. This shows how screwed up people are because when after the second attempt that my ex made to kill me, I reached out. I had to go to court for they denied me an emergency order of protection because they didn't see that I was really in
Course.
danger. Oh, I don't know. After two incidents, why not? But um for the third court appearance, they said bring in any witnesses
Mm-hmm.
that could testify to any, violent behavior that he's exhibited in the past. Well, my mother had actually witnessed a few things. And even though we were estranged, I reached out to her and explained, I have texts, I have emails, I have another witness. He is planning to kill me. He has made attempts. I have this court date. I need to, relate everything. And I said, you witnessed this, this, and this. I understand that we have no relationship, but this is my life on the line. I am literally begging you, if you could please, on this date at this time, come to court and testify to his character. And she said no. She said no. My mother,
Oh.
we don't want to get involved. But yet, just a few months ago, yeah, I found out he was over there at their house, my ex, having a nice little chat or dinner or something. Un-effing believable.
We were in the
But
hospital in the NICU. I mean, in the ICU. I was in the ICU with Faith when this was happening. Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's no bigger FU in life than when your own parents don't even care if you're dead or alive. So that's a tough one, but yeah, I'd be curious to know if anyone else has ever experienced anything. So I mean, it sounds so absurd, and even when I've
Make
shared
this
these things
up.
with people, I know, but when you share things, I mean, it's not like we walk around talking about this stuff, but when it has come up and I've shared, people, oh, that's not, you must have misinterpreted. No, I have it in a text. I reread it about 10 times trying to go through my head like this woman literally does not want to help me like live. I can't wrap my head around this. Like this is not misinterpreting, but it's just interesting that that is how self-absorbed these people are. They don't even care about your life, your kid, your daughter's life, anybody. They don't freaking care about anyone but themselves.
The one that, and this isn't, I don't think I even put this in the book. I had gotten a phone call in the NICU and the nurses transferred it over and said it's some, I don't remember the name of it, insurance agency. And I was like, what? And they said it's imperative they talk to you. And I'm like, so I get on the phone and they're like, oh, we're so sorry for your loss. And I'm like, what did I lose? And they said, well, we're calling on behalf of your husband and we need verification to do the forms. I'm like, what forms? And they said, oh, for the death of your daughter. And I'm like, I'm looking at her.
Did he have a life
He
insurance
had
policy?
three different life insurances on her. And
I
he,
literally
oh,
just got chills. I don't mean to interrupt you, but like I literally have full body fucking chills.
he
I
literally,
mean, we already knew he was a POS, but
yeah,
oh my effing God.
yeah. And I didn't put this in the
Oh
book in
my
case
God.
Faith ever read that. But yeah, they were like, we need verification. We need to know the time of death. We need the death certificate. And I was like, I'm around a bunch of kids in the NICU, and I'm like, I said, I say this respectfully, have you lost your effing mind? I said, why would I be in a hospital if my child was passed on? And I was like, I'm looking at her. And I was like,
Well,
he's
because he
sick.
knew.
Right,
Such an arrogant piece of crap. He
right.
figured he did do away with her. He thought, oh, look at me. I did such a good job, accomplished my goal. And Victoria's up in that hospital.
I
He
said, well,
probably
he
didn't
tried
even
to
think.
put her here last. And I was like, he
Yeah.
occluded her trach until she stopped breathing
Oh
and
my
then
God.
put a gun to my head. And I was like, so that's how we're here this time. So is she deceased? No. And I was like, don't you ever. And I said, you better cancel the policy because, and they were like, well, he also put he was the sole beneficiary and didn't even list you. And I was like, are you kidding me?
Can they do that?
He did. Because I was supposed to be dead too.
Well, I understand that. I mean, but I don't know. I
He
guess
only listed himself.
we need, so now we have to redo our whole criminal justice system and the insurance. Like,
Right.
no, I'm not meaning to make light of it.
No.
This is just astonishing to me.
Yeah.
I
Three
mean,
life
I've
insurance.
seen enough 48 hours episodes that I see people pull life insurance on their spouse or whatever, but
Got a baby.
I just shouldn't that be illegal to do that without somebody's signature, or if it's a minor without the signature of both legal guardians or parents? I don't understand
He
how
was
that's.
the, I think one of them was through the military. I'm not 100%, but he got three individual policies. But if they're under a certain amount of money, I don't think you have to verify that. But they're newborn kids. That's why. I mean, most time they don't think anything's going to happen. And so he signed everything. And I don't know if he said I was incapacitated because I was in the hospital. I don't know what he said. There's no telling what he said, but he had three different policies because I called and said, I'm mom. And then I sent court papers saying, I have sole custody. I have all decision making rights. I want copies of this document. You're asking me for information I want to see. And so I took all of it to court. And
There should be some legal requirement that if somebody takes, at least with minor children, if somebody takes a policy out of any kind on a minor child, that the legal guardians, be it the parents or whoever, be informed. I mean, you can't, if your credit is run, the credit company has that, TransUnion sends you a thing saying, we ran
yeah,
your credit. I
yeah.
mean, why is it that somebody can just take out a policy
Well, like
without your knowledge?
Well,
I
like
don't understand that.
Gerber, sends you stuff when you have a baby, and
Yes,
and
yes.
they send you the possibility of life insurance. Pay a couple dollars a month, and you get life insurance, whatever. So I'm guessing, this was kind of a thing, but he was gonna try and bank off of this.
That makes me sick.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
yeah, I get it. And I've had that happen, but Lord, and that's exactly why it's interesting you bring that up because I know that when I was preparing, part of my preparation to leave my ex, I was like, okay, he's planning to kill me. I have verification of this in writing, verbally from my neighbor, like all this. I took my life insurance, my bank accounts, anything I had that there should be a beneficiary assigned. I changed it to my son being the sole beneficiary. He was a minor, so I had to assign him, I forget, a trustee or whatever.
mhm,
So I had somebody, one of the very few people I totally trust in this world that I've known her 30 years. We go way back. I asked her, told her the situation. She said, so I legally, I mean, it took a few days to put this all, but I thought, you know what? Let him do what he's going to do to me, thinking he's going to get a payout because I'm sure he did, and let him laugh. I will be laughing all the way down 6 feet under because there's no way he's going to get a penny,
yeah,
not a damn penny. And even, my son would have had to wait till he was 18, but even then I had opened up an annuity so that all the money would go into the annuity and he wouldn't even get like a lump sum or anything that my ex could take. But I was like, I'll be damned if that MFer is going to get a damn penny if he thinks he's going to kill me. I would have almost been fine being killed just to see the look on his face when he found out he wasn't getting shit.
yeah. Yeah.
These people are unbelievable.
Yeah. We need to do an episode where we talk about, safety plans, how they can, because we haven't talked about how you can get out and
Yeah.
survive and not
Yeah,
have
and there's
some
aspects
imperative.
that you have talked about that I am not privy to. And for me, it was more like the paperwork and things and
Yeah.
certain things getting in order. But yeah, I think we could definitely put together a nice episode for anybody that is thinking about it because some people really my thing is you have to be ready to grab and go because you don't know when the opportunity is going to arise that you can do it safely.
Right.
And when that moment comes, you got to be ready.
Yeah. And we would love to help you make sure you're as ready as you can be.
And get out alive. All joking aside,
Yeah.
get out alive because
Yeah.
not everybody can. It's interesting when people say, "Oh, well, it must not have been too bad for you to stay that long." Dude, I was just trying to live. I was
Right.
trying to be okay, and there was no way in hell. Yeah, I could have walked out many times. I was not leaving without my kid. And I had
Right.
a dog with epilepsy. I didn't put that in gasping for air because that could have been a whole other book is how they treat children, pets,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, I mean, the whole thing. I was not leaving my epileptic dog. Yeah, there was just so much, but we should do that. And I apologize. We go off on these tangents, people, but
Oh,
hopefully
it
you
just
get
shows we're
something
real. It shows that
out
we're
of them.
real.
Yeah, but we are going to do one more question.
Yes. And
Well,
then she's
yeah,
gonna go rest. All
okay.
right. I spent my entire life chasing perfection, trying to be
Mm.
the child my parents wanted, the one who didn't make mistakes, who didn't rock the boat. But no matter what I did, it was never enough. My mother would look at me with cold eyes and even colder heart. She would tell me I would never be as good as my sister. By the time I was an adult, I was truly broken inside, exhausted from trying to meet impossible standards. The final straw came when I gave her a gift. It was a heartfelt effort, only to be told it was the wrong color. I snapped. I stood up for myself for the very first time, even though the words shook inside my throat, but I had to say it, and I was done trying to please her.
Yeah, I mean, that's about right. And congratulations for coming to that point where you knew
Yes.
that there was nothing that you could do. I've always said it's my little joke is I could win a Nobel Peace Prize and it'll be, oh, well, how come you didn't win two? Or, oh, you did it at 49 and not at 40. Like
Yeah.
it's always going to be something. And when you finally come to that realization that, you know what? Number one, I have nothing to prove to anybody but myself, if even that, but certainly not these people that are never going to see any worth in me, then that is a freedom that there's just no price for that kind of peace. And it's hard because so many people get caught up. I mean, look at social media. I know you and I belong to groups and it pains my heart and like I can't respond and comment to everyone, but even if I have, they say, "Oh, well, I can't," or people just get so caught up in, "Oh, I don't know why my 90-year-old mother still doesn't love me." Honey, she has made it damn freaking clear she don't
Yeah.
want you. She
Yeah.
does not want to be your mother. There is nothing you can do because I've seen a lot of them lately about presents. I got my mother a present and she got
Yep.
mad it wasn't what she wanted, or I didn't spend enough on her, or it wasn't the right color, or whatever. And it's just like, why? Why are you even there? Because this is not like the first incident, obviously. But I think we get so caught up that we hope and we wait and we pray and you
Yeah.
just have to get to the point where it's right in front of you. Somebody used to tell me if it walks like a duck and talks
Talks
like a
like a
duck,
duck. Yeah.
yeah, it ain't a swan. So
My
move
bio
on.
dad used to tell me, you are going to get your mother a Christmas present. You are going to, do you hear me? You're going to get her one. So, okay. So I would come over and bring over a gift, and he would be like, what did you get her? You'll see. And he'd open it up, and I would be like, the dollar store didn't have anything cheaper.
Ooh, ouch.
That's what I did. I mean,
Ouch.
they would decorate my car with stuff involving my ex or just these hurtful things. They would have people come over to the house and somebody would be like, oh, your daughter's really pretty, and he would say, hey, go flirt with him so I can get part of the money off the bill, or go out. I'm like, you're not pimping me out, like that's just not gonna
That's
happen.
what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, well, the plumber thinks you're good looking, and then and he was I was like, so what? I was like, I don't care about his profession. I care about the fact that you're like, hey, go out with him so he'll cut, the cost of this while you were walking around with $3,000 and hundreds in your pocket. Like, are you serious? No, no, don't pimp me out. So yeah, I did. I used to get, gifts for my bio dad, but then I would go to the dollar store for her. Um, just because, and everything I ever gave her, she never wore it. I mean, I would go get her nice stuff, never wore it, never want anything to do with it, never want anything. Like, Faith drew the most beautiful pictures, and I actually had a gorgeous canvas painting done of her and my bio dad, and I hand to God, I'm not kidding. It was big. It was much bigger than like an 11 by 14. I mean, it was big. And it was several $100s to do it. Not that that matters. And hand to God, I'm not kidding. They put it in the garage behind the trash cans. That's where it was installed. It was hung up in the garage. They had 7 garages, but it was in the garage. Behind the trash cans was the picture of the two of them.
Yeah, that sounds like my stepfather. He was always that way, very ungrateful. I would obviously I learned real quick when I was little. He didn't want anything from me. He wouldn't want anything from the dollar store or a picture. But see, here's my and maybe you could make sense. And if anyone's listening can relate, I think this is because even you said you're reading my book, my
Hmm.
second book about my childhood, and angry at my mother. Everybody's angry at my mother. Here's where I was mind fucked as a kid. My mother actually was very appreciative of all that. You know, when you're a kid, you are drawing pictures and getting them dinky things that you're buying with your 50 cents or whatever.
At the school
She
lunch
was
store or
always very
whatever.
gracious about it.
Yeah.
And she even had a box where she kept all the pictures and she kept all the stuff. So it's like part of me, like, how could I not think she cared? Because sometimes she acted like a mother, sometimes,
Right.
not very often, but
Yeah.
and then there were those times where I just I would look at her like, do
Help
you
me.
even know that I came out of you? Like, do you have like it's very interesting that I wonder and I think that's part of the betrayal. It's like we always say, whether it's your mother or your partner or whoever, when they can say they love you and do loving things and you even have good times and that's what gets me too. People say, "Oh, well, I have pictures of you and you were smiling." Yeah, well, it's not like I was walking around with black eyes and looking like Wednesday Addams every damn day of my life or with my ex. You learn sometimes you can have a moment of joy, but people think that like there's this thing that like there's just a dark shadow over you, like the old Pink Panther. But no, sometimes you are fine. And then, you know, and you can have moments of clarity with that person, but then they do these horrific, hateful things that you I think that's what shocks you
Yeah.
as a person emotionally. You don't know how to process, like, wait a second, why you of all people, like I trust you not to do things to that extent to me because you say you love me, because you're my mother, because you're my husband, because you're whoever. And then they do it. And I don't think people understand that betrayal trauma. I mean, that's probably the worst
So,
emotional abuse
yes.
there ever is. It's
Yeah.
the most painful. I mean, that is ultimate heartache. And trying to negotiate that as a child, that was the worst part for me. So I wonder if anyone else has any, like, I like my stepfather. No, it's like you were saying about your parents. Like it was very clear to me there, it was just, and there was no love lost with, you know, no contact and whatever, like whatever. We just, and I don't even to speak, I don't even hate him. He's a piece of shit, but
Yeah.
I don't hate him. I hate my mother
Yeah.
because she allowed that and then participated in it. And I don't get that.
Yeah. That's something you'll never understand because you're not
Yeah.
wired like that.
Yeah, exactly. And thank God. But it's still, you know, I feel bad for all the people out there who aren't okay
Yeah.
and who have, you know, are still struggling with that because, you know, they say that even when it happens to you as a child, that it usually takes a couple decades. You know,
Yes.
you might be in your late 30s, late 40s, even your 50s. I've seen people in their 60s come to me and say, "Oh my God, like I read your book and I'm just starting to kind of realize what I'm in," because people think, "Oh, abuse or trauma, like you are fully aware." No, you don't, because it creeps in. And again, you're having good times, you're having moments of normalcy, and they're acting like how they're, you think a mother should or a father should or whatever. But
It makes it
it's a
worse.
very traumatic, it does make it worse. And it's
Yes.
very sad that it's usually not until decades later when you're an
Mhm.
adult, when you're done having relationships and having your own kids, when you're kind of left to sit with your own thoughts and not having to be in so much of a hustle and bustle, that you start thinking back on your life. And that's when you start realizing, oh my
Yeah.
God, I've been through some crap. And then
Yes.
it hits you. And that's when you start going to therapy trying to figure it out. So
Yes.
if you're
That's
on
what
the
makes it
young
worse.
end, like I love when we have like teenagers writing in and, people in their 20s, even their 30s, it's like, thank you. Thank you for having the self-awareness that you have. It's phenomenal to come to these realizations. And even
Yes.
just if you're just starting to realize like something's not right here, because you will have the potential to live so much better of a life going forward if you start making the changes you need to now,
Yeah.
so that you don't end up 50 years old and realizing, oh my God, my whole life was crap because my mother did this to me or whatever it is.
Right. But I also want people to know who are listening that you may be just figuring out that you are in that situation and you could be of any age. It's not discriminatory
Oh,
on age. But the
absolutely.
thing is that Dana and I both were exactly where you were. And we are now on the other side and we have gone into our healing journey and we will forever be in our healing journey. But if we can get out, you can too. And you are not alone. And that is so imperative that you hear that. If I could repeat anything constantly, it's you are not alone because I went through it alone. She went through a lot of it alone, even though there were characters, quote unquote, on a daily basis. And I say characters loosely because I mean that in like a negative term, is that
Yeah.
you don't have anybody you feel is in your corner. You feel like, which way do I turn? No one is there. I'm doing this by myself. Is this the best life I could possibly have? I might as well just stay and deal with it. No, don't stay and deal with it because you will get on the other side. You will come out and be the person you deserve to be. No one deserves to take away your happiness. Don't let them do it. And no matter where you are in the progress of finding out and getting out and healing, you're not alone. And you will get to the stage where we are now. It took a long time, but
Hmm.
you only go forward by taking one step at a time. And that's the only way you will move forward. But sitting where you are, not moving at all, nothing will change.
And I will say one more thing, if I may. I always have one more thing to say, but you do move forward,
Mhm.
but with moving forward, you're gonna fall back on your ass a few times or
Absolutely.
a lot of times, and it's okay.
Yeah.
Even last week, the holidays, I actually got through these holidays okay, but I had a little, it was kind of a stumble back, and then I'm like, okay, wipe
Yeah, I
myself
annoyed
up,
her. I
straighten
annoyed
my
you.
up. But the thing is I want people to know just because we're where we're at and just because you heal does not mean everything's suddenly okay.
Right.
It's always lurking. I always say it's lurking in the shadows. It's always there and it'll creep up on you. But you just got to be like, nope, not today, Satan. And you move forward. You get up and you keep making your way forward. And it's totally normal and it's totally okay. And we still cry. We still have our moods. We still have our moments of feeling self pity for about 2 seconds before we realize it's the a-holes in our head telling us these things, not ourselves. And then we're like, nope, not happening. That's not who we are. And you move forward. But you can have a better life. You can get out. You can love again. You can have healthy relationships, but most of all, you need to have a healthy relationship with you, with
Yes.
yourself, and get right in your heart, and then everything else opens up. So
Yeah.
with that lovely inspiration, we will end today's podcast. And again, we thank everybody for listening and for writing in. And we say it every time that we will one day maybe get through all these questions, but we still want you sending them in and we want
Absolutely.
to hear your stories and we want to hear about your experiences, the good, the bad, the ugly, the in between. Because on some level, somebody can relate and somebody needs to hear what you've been through so they know that it's not just them.
Yes. Absolutely. And I will keep bugging you, make sure you're okay.
I know.
Ah! Do you hear how she says that? I know. All right. Well, we will talk to y'all soon. And we wish everybody a happy new year. And
Yeah.
we'll be back. Feel
We'll
better.
see ya. I will. I'm always okay.
I
We're
know.
always all right.
I
All
know.
right. Peace out, everyone.